Cloud, absolutely. Well, welcome, Kevin, to the Suicide Prevention Punchline. My host, Zara Khan, is otherwise occupied. She's a comedian and a fellow mental illness traveler, a two-time TED talker, by the way. Anyway, let's talk about you, dude, and that wonderful beard.
Oh, thank you.
I'd have to have testosterone shots to grow that much hair on my face. So yeah, this is for the podcast listeners. This is the third weekend in February. I just got off the Westerdam. It was one of those cruise ships in the Western Pacific. It was the one that was not infected, by the way. It was the one that had nobody, according to the CDC now, had the virus, including the 83-year-old woman who went, on her way through Malaysia, spiked a fever and brought the whole thing to a screeching halt. Yeah, she didn't even have it. So.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've been on the. I went viral this past week. Daily Mail, Lester Holt Show, Entertainment Tonight, Inside Edition, New York Times, Daily Mail in London. Yeah. Geez.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, and internet trolls like you would not believe. I didn't. I'm 63. I thought cyberbullying. How could that be? How could you bully somebody over the internet? Oh my God. Yeah, I shut down my 3 personal social media accounts. I had to change their home phone number. I had to take down my business listing because people were posting my map online. And as a matter of fact, they were supposed to be here today to picket me, protest. Exactly what would you protest? Anyway,
Where are they picketing again?
well, see, I left Cambodia,
Uh-huh.
and the news said that I jumped quarantine, which I didn't. We were not under quarantine. We weren't confined. I mean, Holland America wanted us to be, stick around so they can keep track of us. But I'd already completed my contract. The CDC guy in Cambodia said, Frank, you've been 14 days, never been to China, don't have a fever, go. So I went and I got cleared in Seattle. And then, man, the media was there, 2 of the TV stations to meet me. Made the mistake of speaking to them, never do that again. And now the world thinks that I drug the coronavirus back to the United States so I could make my next gig.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and you can't convince them. CDC.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Like that kind of mob mentality that online bullying is a real thing.
The cancel culture is. I thought, how bad could that cancel culture be? Where they try to take you down and ruin your career.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh Pete. Yeah, my next TED talk is going to be called, my next pitch actually, the contagious comedian: how the cancel culture and the coronavirus killed my comedy career. Which, by the way, between you and me, Kevin, I haven't done comedy except on the ship for years. Some guy wrote on a post, I'm going to make sure you never work in a comedy club again. Can I get that in writing? Um, Another guy wrote, you brought the virus back to Lane County to kill everybody. No, I've got a list, and you just made the top of it. So, anyway, that's my week, Kev. How about you?
I wanted to go viral in a different way.
Oh, God. Well, I always said, it was my last cruise line. I've been fired off the other 3, for minor things, personality conflict with the cruise director. I'm a Sagittarius. He's a weenie. Just kind of, not really notable. I said, I want to go out in a blaze of glory on this one. And man, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I never thought my name would be on the front page of the New York Post. Comedian fired. Anyway, Kevin, tell us about you.
Well, Frank, thank you again for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like I spend a lot of my days talking about grief. I'm a grief counselor for pet loss specifically.
Oh man, I feel you. We have 10 cats and 3 dogs, and we've had a number, obviously, in our time pass away. People who are not a pet-centered family have no clue as to how painful that is.
That's a healthy amount of pets that you have there.
Well, Kevin, you start adopting cats, and people find out. There's a cat living in my driveway. I'll be right over with the live trap. Okay.
Yeah. You certainly know that kind of pain that happens when you lose that pet.
Oh my God. I've had them die in my arms. I just, oh, Lord. Yeah, I mean, we don't have kids, so they're like our children. And I've often said, if you punch my wife, she'd hit you back. If you hit the dog, she would kill you, cut you up for dog treats, and never tell a soul. Whatever happened to so and so? Yeah, he went to pieces. I think he.
Yeah, a little bit. He's here and there now.
Yeah, always, all over the place. Yeah, no, we are definitely. You know, yeah, I was at a I was at a conference one time speaking, and we were talking at the table, at dinner, talking to people. And I said, I'm a dog person. The woman goes, I'm a dog person too. I said, I'd take a bullet for my German Shepherd. She goes, I wouldn't. I'm like, well, then you're not really a dog person because that dog would die for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, tell me, I mean, that's kind of an interesting, how'd you wind up doing that particular, I mean, that's a niche within a niche.
Well, it certainly is. Yeah. So like it's wildly different than what I started out doing. I started out doing computer science, like
Yeah.
like data development, data science, that kind of thing. And I lost my cat, Henry Fats Rothschild, about 4 or 5 years ago now. And like when I lost him, there was no one for me to talk to about the grief. Like I'm a guy from Tennessee, and so as most men, we don't talk about grief in general.
No, I'm from North Carolina. We don't do that.
Yeah, yeah, and especially like the grief over pet loss because that's disenfranchised too. So not only can you not talk about grief in general, you can't talk about your specific grief, and so I just held all of that in. And like there's really no one else who's trying to do this kind of thing, this
Apparently
kind
not.
of service for this, and it's a huge, huge need.
You think?
And the more that I read about it, the more that like I just found my calling, what I'm supposed to do.
Well, and I speak on suicide prevention, and because it runs in my family, grandmother died by suicide, great aunt, my mother, I came close enough to tell you what the barrel of my gun tastes like, and I picked groups, occupations at high risk: dentists, doctors, construction, and veterinarians. And one of the things I say to veterinarian groups is, if it's a person, maybe they're older and they've just been, they're widowed or they're a widower, and they have an animal, and they had the animal when they had the spouse, and this is kind of the last vestige. This is sort of and you need to be listening out for things like, there's really after Buster died, I don't really see any reason to go on. You need to be listening out for clues like that, because people who are suicidal, if they're serious about it, they usually in the last week give you hints, what they're thinking. So yeah, it's and veterinarians. One of the reasons they have a high rate of suicide is called compassion fatigue.
Yes.
It's not putting down animals that have come to the end of their life. It's the animals where let's say it's a couple-year-old dog, some issue, family can't afford medical care, so they say to the veterinarian, just put him down.
That's
so
tragic.
Both my vets go, okay, and then they fix the problem, rename the dog, and rehome it. They're not putting down an otherwise healthy animal. That's just not, they're just not wired that way. So, but yeah, it's there's a lot of grief to go around.
Hard thing to do. It's because like you're sworn as a veterinarian to care for and heal these animals, and you still at times you still have to do that administration of death, administration of euthanasia.
And at the end, sometimes when I had a cat, Pearl, that she had congestive heart failure, and fortunately we had insurance, pet insurance, and so we treated her for a long time. She had chronic some kidney problems as well, no, liver problems as well. Anyway, kept her alive 13, 14 years. And basically her just liver popped in half, and it was her time. And it was, we were able to be together, and I was up at Oregon State. It's a small animal hospital where they have students and interns, residents, and whatever. And I was able to be with her, and the vet said to me before he gave her the dosages, is there anything you need? I said, well, when we get done with this, I'm going to need a hug. And bless his heart, when we got done, he goes like this, opened his arms, and I wept. I mean, when I cry, it's ugly.
Yeah.
I don't just sniffle. I howl.
Yeah.
Which a lot of guys don't do, at least in public.
It was very nice that your veterinarian was there to do that and to be that support for you.
Yeah. Well, we with that many animals, we spend a great deal of time with our veterinarians.
Yeah.
Kevin, I got to tell you, when we have moved in the past, when we let our veterinarian know we're moving, they're like,
Mhm.
no, I just bought that new machine. I was counting on you and your 13 animals to find it,
My kids are just going to college. I was counting on you.
Exactly, that many animals. And by the way, Kevin, we have insurance on each and every one of them. Uh, it's basically a way to amortize their care over a lifetime rather than just big chunks. But it makes the decisions a lot easier when they go, listen, it's going to be $2,000. Yeah, no, it's not. It's going to be 20% of that.
Yeah.
And they all have better insurance than I do. Um, so we keep ours alive longer than a lot of, because I've had people say to me, we had a long-haired German Shepherd named Lena. She was the queen of complications, dear God. Every time the vet would go, 90% of the time after we do this, they never have another problem. I mean, both her hips got blown out, and then one hip, the pin slipped, and then the cup popped. Her spleen, fortunately, the vet caught it. Spleen had those blisters on it that could kill a dog in almost minutes. I mean, she had triple infection. I love the insurance company said to me, well, we think she got the triple infection, and they found it when they were operating on something else, like her hip. The insurance company, we think the triple infection came when they were doing the operation. Oh, really? You think the infection jumped in there when they were working on it? Anyway, we kept her alive for a long time. So putting off that, that eventual grief.
Yeah.
And I've said, and I've heard people say, when you get an animal, for pretty good chance you're going to outlive them. And so you have to. That's the deal you make when you get an animal. Is you're probably going to have to, but it doesn't make it any easier. I just oh dear God. Yeah, I just well. So have you got another cat?
I do.
Okay.
I do. His name is Ponce de Leon.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a big explorer, so I named him after Ponce de Leon, who was the famous Spanish explorer looking for the Fountain of Youth.
Oh yes. And listen, I went to public school a long time ago where they actually taught stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in our neighborhood, we have cougars, and so the cats can't be outside. Otherwise, sooner or later, we have some that live in the garage with the cat door and three heated cat beds and a cat box in the garage, so they're indoor plumbing.
Oh, fancy.
But they tend to, for whatever reason, these cats don't venture far. It's certainly not at night. And the rest of them, the other 7 are in the house because we can't. We lost one to a cougar, and I don't know about Ponce de Leon, but this cat being inside it just freaked him out. He was much happier outside, even though they say that about cats. They have a shorter life oftentimes outside, but a richer life. So you have to make that.
Yeah.
And one day he just didn't come back, which I'm out in the front yard crying, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about the process. How do people find you? And then once they found you, what's is it like a series of appointments, or how do you work it?
Oh yeah, so I do. Right now, people can find me through Google searches or Facebook searches, that kind of thing.
Well, tell me the keywords. I want to know so our podcast listeners
Pet loss.
Pet loss, okay.
Loss of a pet. My dog died. Those kind of things.
Okay.
Or we also do. How do I help my friend who's grieving?
Oh, so you ask
a lot about how other people can support their friends who have lost. And these people don't necessarily have to understand that grief to be able to support their friends going through.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So they contact you, and then 1 session, 2 sessions, 5 sessions? What's the average?
I like to do group sessions.
Oh.
So 8 to 10 people, and we do like online video chat rooms. So just like we're doing right now.
Oh, a Zoom kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so wherever you are in the country, like you can come and get support if you need it.
Well, because if you're the only one doing it, you dang well better have Zoom or something.
Yeah. Well, there are local groups that do this, like some veterinarian places and SPCAs. Those organizations will have in-person local support groups.
Right.
Like once a month, maybe. But if you don't live within that area, you can't get to one.
Yeah, sure. That's the beauty of the internet. Everybody can get together.
Yeah. So the idea is like I want to bring people together for about 3 months, about 12 sessions once a week.
Okay.
We do other things during the week, but we try to do that. And I give homework every time. I give journaling activities. You know, in grief, you have to be active. You have to work through it.
Yeah.
And the more active and the more able people are to talk about their grief, the easier it is for them to process and accept it, to move through it.
Yes. You ever anybody like this? We have German Shepherds, 3 German Shepherds, and 10 cats. And one of the German Shepherds named Milo. But for some strange reason, my previous German Shepherd male was named Trooper. I it just keeps when I know his name's Milo. I'm not losing my mind. I don't want early onset Alzheimer's. I know what his name is, but I just keep calling him Trooper. I guess by accident. And the airy fairy part of me thinks, well, maybe Trooper's close by somewhere, and I'm just, or maybe maybe it's like that movie where the dog occupies a different, the spirit of the dog occupies a different dog each time, and it's just weird. I mean, I caught myself doing it today, talking to the dog. Hey, buddy, you want to go and play with Trooper? Oh God, there it goes again. You ever
Yeah,
have
that's normal. That's
really?
natural. A lot of people do that.
Okay, I
A
thought,
lot of
yeah.
people talk to their animals who have passed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially if it's your only animal, right? And you have no more animals in the house after they die, then you spend a lot of time talking out loud to them.
Yeah, and I was walking. I'm having a rough week because of this, this coronavirus thing.
Yeah.
And I was out this morning, and Trooper used to sit in the front yard. He lost the use of his back legs in later life. They thought it was some kind of myelopathy or something. But yeah, anyway, we got him a cart. So we was training him in his cart, and he would drag him if he saw me go toward the car, he would drag himself to the car. And the neighbors thought I was so cruel to leave him alive. But you know, Kevin, he would drag himself through the grass over toward the driveway, and I would pick him up and put him in the back of the car. And man, he was. I mean, I said, look, the day the spark goes out of his eyes,
Mm-hmm.
I'll know, he'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as he's dragging himself to the car.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had a spot where he sat, and we put up we had a problem with like meat bees or hornets or whatever. So last year I hung a little trap above where he sat. And today I was having kind of a bad day this morning, and the moonlight hit that thing in the tree, and I spoke to him. Because it felt like he was there. And when I lost the cat, he and I were sitting on the back porch. Just happened to be he was on the back porch sitting. I sat down by him, and I was crying. And this is not characteristic of him. He just leaned over and licked me. I mean, it just, But again, if you're an animal person, you think that's amazing, and
They're very intuitive.
Yeah,
They know how we're feeling.
yeah. So, about 12 weeks. No, those are group sessions. 12 weeks. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the strangest animal somebody has lost that they were involved in the group with you?
A beehive.
Oh,
So a queen bee, for beekeepers, a queen bee will live, 3 or 4 years. And
okay.
if that queen bee dies, you lose the entire hive. All 10, 20,000 of those bees will die.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the bees themselves don't live that long, maybe 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh,
And they
okay.
constantly be refreshed. And so if that queen bee stops laying eggs, then that's the end of the hive.
Well, and by the way, since we've lived here, one time looked in the backyard and they were swarming. They
Mm-hmm.
glom onto it, and people panic and try to kill them. And I went to the web. I went, don't kill them.
I just found out what that was. They
Tell me.
swarm because they surround the queen bee to keep her warm. And the
Really?
swarm is the queen.
Oh, I see. And
When
they were
the
there.
hives get too large, they split, and one queen goes one way, one queen stays, and that's what happens with that.
And they're kind of rehoming, I think, at that point. They're looking for a new, yeah. And so it wasn't but about 20 minutes, and they were gone. And somebody, I think online said, they are very docile at that point. You can walk right up to because it looks really frightening.
Oh yeah.
But what about one of my vets does exotics. Every now and then, he's working on a chameleon, or something, a snake.
Yeah.
Do you have people who have exotics in the groups? Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
So do you have any training on this? How did you get training at this, being a data guy?
So I found out after a while through my own grief, I found out about the Association of Pet Loss and Bereavement,
Oh, of course there is.
founded by Dr. Wallace Sife in like the early 80s.
I see. There's
And
an
he's
actual association.
Yeah.
Do you guys have meetings?
We do, yeah.
Annual meetings, I guess, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I'm on their board of directors, so we meet like more often than that.
Of course you are. And what, let's see, do you have speakers come to your meetings?
Well, the meetings that we do there are just for the organization.
For the board, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But like they run chat rooms almost like 6 days a week.
Right.
Where anybody can just come on and it's just text, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So no annual conference where you go to Lauderdale and, okay. Not that big an association.
Well,
How many
a couple of years or so.
How many members?
In the, like just general members, probably 10, 15,000.
Okay. And how many people like you?
There were probably 30 of us, maybe.
Wow. That is a niche within a niche, my friend. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Can you make a living doing this?
I do. That's what I moved out all the way out to San Francisco to do, to build and get this out.
Why? Okay. Yeah.
Well, San Francisco, because of the density of people, the amount of animals that are here,
Oh.
the amount of wealth and influence and startup capital and mentorship and that kind of thing. All the things that I really need to build and grow this out nationally.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a veterinarian. Somebody used to do it when we had horses, and he switched from large animals to small animals, and you move from being out in the country to being near a large. I think they're close to Portland now, because and one of our vets is sort of old school, and for him, still has this sort of everything is livestock mentality. You know what I mean? It's not a pet really. It's just livestock. And then the one in town, the one that did the exotics and so forth, that's much different attitude. It's family member. It's they know they always offer you the Cadillac price. This is the best we could do, and then here and then here. Whereas those guys out there, they we're treating livestock. Well, you probably could wire it together and different philosophy. So yeah, the money is definitely in small animals, and small animal veterinary medicine. And I assume with the dense population, lots of pet owners with lots of money. I'm guessing the Bay Area too. You got a lot of double income, no kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And I get a lot of my clients are in their mid 30s to early 40s. These are like when you have that first pet as an adult and that pet dies.
Oh,
you get your first pet in your 20s and then it dies somewhere in your 30s. And generally, most people have not experienced that kind of grief. It's shocking to them. It throws them under the bus.
Oh, yes.
They start missing work. They start falling apart in their lives and like pulling in and just pushing everyone else out.
Yeah, we had cats early on, and then I think in 2000 we got our first German Shepherd, who died in my arms. 14 years later. 14 is a long time for a German Shepherd, for a large animal. But again, we were like parents. We had raw food diet. We the one Lena that had all the hip surgery, $5,000 for a hip. And somebody goes, how many German Shepherds you can buy for $5,000? You're missing the point. Yeah. That's how come only one cat, Kevin?
Well, I had 2 cats and one of them died last year.
Right.
So now I just have the one.
Not going to get another one?
Eventually.
Okay. There's lots of them for adoption out there. Trust me on that.
I know. I've seen them.
Well, do you have a significant other?
I don't.
No, a single.
It's just me and my dog and my cat.
Oh, you have a dog?
Spider. I do.
What kind of dog?
He's an Old English sheepdog.
Ooh, lots of
Sir
work.
William Broderick.
Jeez, man, you and the names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it some comic had a bit about that? You name the dog, and then you never use that name again. It's always something,
Yeah.
a
Yeah, it
nickname
was
of,
flirty.
yeah,
Yeah.
nickname of some kind. Why an old English sheepdog?
I wanted a bigger dog, and it was either between him and the Saint Bernard.
Oh, Lord.
And I just happened to be reading the paper, and in classifieds, I saw someone selling an Old English sheepdog, little puppy, two blue eyes, and I went and saw him, and then that was him.
Yeah, the hold the puppy clothes. Here, hold the puppy. You're not going to give it back. Uh, is there a lot of maintenance with dog with that much hair?
It's a little bit, but it's not that bad.
Okay.
I
And
mean,
one
he's a
dog.
walking carpet, so I have to bathe him.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, walking dirt magnet.
Uh-huh.
And we've never had one dog because we try to stagger them. We have a
Uh-huh.
6-year-old and a 4-year-old and a puppy that we got. We didn't plan on it, but somebody had a run of the litter and they didn't think it would last very long. And they knew we'd take good care of it, like palliative care.
Yeah.
But and it does have a heart issue. But of course, he's already had his first echo. Going up to OSU, the small animal clinic on the 16th. And there's a valve thing. There's like a valve job you can do on a dog, man.
Ooh.
But we have insurance coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we always have more than one dog because they speak the same language. They exercise each other. It's I can't imagine just having one. So
Yeah, I have to walk him twice a day. Well,
oh,
because I don't have a yard anymore,
you live in the Bay Area, yeah.
yeah, and so I gotta like follow him around with the little poop bags and.
Oh, hey man, listen, I've had dogs so long. If I'm out and the dog poops, I don't even bother the bag.
Yeah,
I just grab a
those
handful.
days.
Yeah,
That's some nostalgia for you.
we lived in La Jolla for a while, and San Diego, no place to walk a dog unless you drive somewhere. I mean, off leash. And so we finally just had enough, and we moved to Northern California and basically bought a 2.5 acre plot with basically was a dog park with a mobile home in the middle because we moved for the dog, really.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, pet-centered families are different. It's like I said, if you're not wired that way, you don't. I believe. Here's one of the reasons I
Yeah.
don't trust Donald Trump. He's never had a dog.
Hmm.
And when that hero dog from some kind of raid was there, the reporter goes, "Yeah, Donald Trump didn't seem to want to get near the dog," and I'm thinking, maybe the dog didn't want to get close to Trump. Because they're pretty good judges of character.
Yeah.
Cats too. I've had women say to me, "My boyfriend doesn't like my cat. Dump him." The cat, no, the boyfriend, for God's sake. Yeah, yeah. Because I have to go. I have to go with my cat. No, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not giving up my kitty.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have a social life outside of,
Yeah.
pet grief?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of it. Like a lot of the things that I do when, like, I'm not doing that is just out networking and meeting people. Because I'm still new to the city, and I'm just building up a friend base, building up a network base, a referral network, and just starting to meet business owners and that kind of thing.
Have you ever been to a BNI chapter?
I am a member of BNI.
Atta boy.
BNI Business Builders, San Francisco.
Oh, good job. Yeah, it's a great way to meet people. And,
Mm-hmm.
generally, I imagine a good number of them have pets
Oh yeah.
and friends with pets and families
Mm-hmm.
with pets. Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, the pet industry, there's there's money in just about every facet of that.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, because people spend more money. I'm sure you know this, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
I get the feeling like people will spend more money on their pet than they will on their kid. It's just
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like during the dot-com bust and the recent recession, 2008, the average spending on pets went up.
really
Yeah, it didn't even touch it.
interesting.
It's gone up year over year for almost 30 years now.
Well, you're in the growth industry. Yeah. So any other exotics that you've dealt with? Somebody lost another exotic, a monkey. Um,
Not a monkey. There was a bird. There was a macaw.
yeah,
You know, those things will live for decades.
yeah, it counts absolutely. Potbelly pig.
Not yet.
That's the one thing my veterinarian will not treat. They treat exotics, but apparently they're just a pain. They squeal and squeal and squeal, and they're hard to work with. And she goes, I don't do pigs. We refer those out.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they do. He worked at a zoo in Nashville for years, and so they do, like Siberian tigers and.
Oh, I love it. I
Oh
love it.
man,
Oh.
yeah. Some of the stories he's got about doing. The tiger came in and he was constipated. I'm like, oh God. So he's already a tiger. Now he really feels bad. He's probably pissed. Yeah. So, yeah. And what they found was, sometimes there's to treat illnesses that animals have, you have to use human equipment and techniques, and because the stuff's not designed for animals. So they have worked and found things. Well, you know what? The echocardiogram works on works the same way it does on a dog and a cat and a human. So yeah, and sometimes they have to. It's like an inventor's workshop. How are we going to test for this?
Yeah. How do you get an elephant in a CAT scan machine?
Yes. And I think there was something to do with a hippo, and they wanted to test something to do with the circulation. I think after it had passed, and of course you can't haul an entire hippo.
Yeah, no.
So they just took a leg and wrapped it up because they wanted to do an MRI, and I think this is like a post-mortem.
Mm-hmm.
And so they wrapped it up in something, and the two guys are carrying in the hospital surreptitiously because nobody wants to go back in the MRI after the rhino leg's been in the MRI. So they've had to do a lot of that, under the cover of darkness. But they discovered a good number of techniques and things that actually, work saving. What was it? Oh, he had a bird. The woman had a bird, and somehow the bird had. There was some kind of flammable gas inside the bird. And I don't know, whatever
let that sit for a minute.
Yeah, whatever the probe was, it sparks and poof, feathers everywhere. It's I mean, he's got stories. Woman came in, guy called up. He said, I won't have my dog decapitated. And my friend goes, why would you want the dog decapitated? Well, I don't want him to, sire any puppies. Well, that would do it. But I think you mean, yeah, oh my God.
It's a good thing we don't have robotic vets. He's like, okay, decapitation coming right up.
Yeah, when a friend took in a puppy to have it neutered, and people confuse neutering and castration. And anyway, the assistant said something about castration, and my friend goes, no, neutering. So when she came back to pick it up, it was a male vet. The assistant wasn't there. And they're chatting, and Marion, my friend, goes, listen, Doc, I just have one piece of advice for you after chatting with your assistant. If you ever decide to have a vasectomy, don't let her schedule it. So, yeah, that's an odd twist. I mean, I'm still trying to work through data and pet grief. It just.
Mm-hmm.
Are you particularly empathetic, do you think? Is that why you were drawn to it?
No. Well, like I've certainly developed empathy over the last 4 years or so that I've been doing this, but I was not empathetic before this.
Okay.
I'm just a good listener.
People ask me in my work, I've got a friend who's depressed. What do I say? Don't say anything. Just actively listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Just, make those sounds. Oh man. Oh God. Matter of fact, when I do my speeches, I give the audience my phone number. I said, look, if you're suicidal, call the Lifeline. If you're just having a really bad day, call a crazy person. because they're not going to judge. They're probably just going to listen. As a friend of mine says, and co-sign your bullshit. Oh my God! Oh Lord, how'd you get through that? So, well, any tips for our listeners, our podcast listeners, on dealing with pet grief? I mean, what are your takeaways when you do?
Well, if you're going through this on your own, like if you're the one grieving,
Right.
then the best thing to do is to find someone to talk to.
Okay.
Go find a friend or a family member, someone who understands that kind of loss, or someone you feel comfortable just telling that story.
Right.
You're going to want to tell that story over and over again.
Yeah, and that's the same thing, by the way, with families of suicide victims. Is
Yeah.
they're gonna talk. They're gonna tell funny stories and serious stories and cry and yeah. So I got another question for you. Oh, do you recommend? At what point do you recommend they get another pet?
Well, that's very individual. Most people go on to get other pets, but I like to have people go through the grief process before they get another one, so they're not just trying to replace them.
Right.
Because it's a brand new relationship that you're going to have with your new pet.
Even if you had it cloned.
Even if you had it cloned, correct?
Yeah, because it's not going to be this. It's not going to be the same animal. I'm sorry. Personality is going to be different. Although people who don't have pets don't think pets have personalities. You know, or yeah, I just saw the woman who was in space set the record for being in space the longest.
Nice.
She came home and they had a video clip. She'd been there a year in space. Had a video clip with a dog's reaction. Oh my God! You cannot tell me that dogs don't get happy. It was just, you're home. Oh my God! I thought you were dead. Or did I really think you were dead? I'm not sure I get.
Oh my God! There you are! There you are! I thought I'd never see you again.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I don't think they have a sense of time, or maybe seem like I've heard.
I don't think so. Not really.
Yeah.
They kind of live in the present, and so it's always you're always gone.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever go to space again for groceries.
Yeah, what's the old joke? The old joke about the woman put your husband in the trunk, leave him there for a couple hours, and then put your dog in the trunk and leave him in there for a couple hours. Then when you open it up, see who's happy to see you. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Well, can you tell I'm pet centered? I just,
Yeah.
Oh man. I just. Well, we obviously crazy about the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have people that work through your 12 weeks and decide not to get another animal? I mean, do you have anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
It's painful. Yeah. It's
It happens a lot with elderly people because they feel at some point their pet is going to outlive them.
Yeah,
so
and you know what?
Feel like they can physically care for that animal anymore.
And in that case, because I've had people, like that in my family, I said, look, there are lots of senior pets out there, 4, 5, 6 years old, that not going to get a home because people like puppies. So, pick a dog with a, lifespan you think you'll probably outlive. And, you still run the risk that something sudden and accidental, but
even if you do orphan them, there are programs now that will take your pet and find a good home for them.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot imagine a house without animals. I
couldn't either.
Mm-hmm. Do you talk to your animals?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like human talk, not just. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I often wonder what my dog is pontificating, and I ask him.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
He doesn't really respond, but like.
Well, I think somewhere I read if you speak to them, it makes them more long term makes them more vocal. All our dogs have been very vocal. That kind of thing. And I think read somewhere that if you communicate with them, they. And my sister told me she read that when a cat meows, they're doing that because of your reaction. The cat goes meow and you scratch it, then it goes aha.
Mm-hmm.
I can meow and I'll get scratched, snuggled. Yeah, so it's not really the cat's not really talking to you about anything else except rub me. Yeah, oh god.
I've had those kind of conversations with my cat before.
Meow,
Yeah,
meow.
and meow back every time, and then
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that's true that if you communicate like that, that it increases the the amount of vocalization that they do, but certainly couldn't hurt.
yeah.
Uh, well, Kevin, I just fascinated by. So now you said there's 30 people that do what you do, scattered across the country.
Well, there are therapists and like family and marriage counselors will talk about pet loss, but there's
Oh, really?
nobody who kind of does this kind of thing like in like the way that I'm doing it specifically for pet loss,
Specialty.
especially.
I see. Lily.
Oh, I saw Lily walking around earlier,
Yeah,
calling at you.
my office assistant. Yes. Yeah. It's. Oh, somebody. Kevin said you got 7 cats. How do you keep them off the counter? I go. Why would I keep the cat off the counter? The cat lives here. It's his counter. Why would I? I know people get grossed out by that. But
How do you keep the cat off the keyboard?
that.
See, and then
Yeah.
that's a question for the ages.
Yeah, because wherever you're focused.
Yep.
Oh, right here. Oh, this is what you're interested in. Okay.
Oh, you don't care if I lay down on this backspace key for an hour?
As a matter of fact, my wife, we just had to get her a new used computer because she's been missing keys because they were clawing up the. You know what I mean? I want a computer with all the keys. All right, fine. Just remember to close it when you finish. Well, this has been fun. That's
Yeah, it really has been.
it's an interesting topic, and that's oh man, what an amazing niche. I mean that you know. So you're the only practitioner with that as your sole practice.
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I imagine given your association such, you probably would be aware if there was someone else. Interesting. Ever read any Temple Grandin? The woman is autistic and she has an amazing facility with animals. Uh, I mean, a communication kind of a thing, and she believes it has something to do with being on the spectrum. Somehow she relates. Do you have any mental illness, by the way?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Yeah, because my co-host Zara is
Mhm.
lives with schizoaffective, and I have a couple myself. But most comedians do. That's why we started the podcast because so many
Mhm.
comedians die by suicide, and creative people and entrepreneurs. And
Yeah.
so you
I
make a
talked
good.
to a lot of veterinarians about suicide
Do what?
and cyberbullying. I talked to veterinarians about suicide and cyberbullying because
Oh,
it's super important for them too.
yeah, and I've been to several veterinary conventions, and my workout partner is a veterinarian, and it's you know people come in and if they find out what it's going to cost and they can't afford it and they're screaming at the staff and you're charging too much, trying to kill my animal, and
Mhm.
I mean he's had money thrown at him and like, here, fine, that kind of thing. I cannot imagine the pressure.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And I talked to a lot of my veterinarians about that kind of thing. I have a compassion fatigue workshop for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we do it
Well,
once a month.
if you ever anybody who is truly suicidal, again, it's always good to. It's it's easier to talk to somebody like me who has been there that close, and because I have context and I understand, the mindset. So yeah, feel free. Um, listen, Frank's crazy. He said, give him a call because it's
Yeah,
gotta keep my tribe alive. Anyway, Kevin, thanks very much for coming on
yeah.
the
Thank you so
Suicide
much.
Prevention Punchline. If you're listening, you like the punchline, Suicide Prevention Punchline, please tell your friends. If you didn't like it, we hope you've got no friends. That's an old comedy club line. Please rate, review, and subscribe because that helps. And last thing, do you have a podcast of your own?
I'm making one currently.
Atta boy.
Yeah, it's about telling your stories of grief and loss over your pets, and I'm gonna bring people on
Oh,
who know that kind of thing.
oh, great idea. And so they will tell the stories of grief and loss.
So like we'll talk like for instance every week will be something different. Like we'll talk about guilt one week, and then
Oh,
I'll tell someone's story of guilt and
yeah.
their story of loss and how they deal with it, and how better ways that we could deal with it as a society going forward.
Suggestion for you, because I think it'd be a fascinating book. Are you thinking about turning those podcast episodes into a book?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it amazes me when I tell other podcasters, you could transcribe those, and each podcast would be a chapter, and they look at me like I just split the atom. Like, duh. Easy way to write a book, fascinating stories. Come on. All right, boy. All right, man. Well, like I said, if you find yourself with a particularly, a veterinarian who, as you suspect, is circling the drain that way, feel free to see it. I got a buddy of mine. He said, anybody ever like this, just give him a call and chat it out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, man. It's been my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You do good work. I just didn't know it existed.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, but very necessary. I mean, there's definitely a pain point there to be addressed. So, all right, man. I'll let you know when this posts.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right.
See ya.